Hello, everyone, and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. Today, we've got the top 10 decks in Marvel Snap here for you. This is what I think are the best right after the OTA. We've got updated decks for all the new cards and so much more in this video. Get ready for the best new meta decks, including everything you need for weekend missions. First, though, we've got to review very quickly the OTA. We did a full video on it yesterday with a deck for every changed card, but we need to make sure that everyone who's watching knows what's what. Scream goes from a 2/3 to a 2/2, but the big change is that she no longer works at all if Luke is on the board. She'll still gain power before Luke is played and keep that power, but once Luke is gone, she is now a static card. That's a huge, huge nerf to her. And people are saying she's dead. We shall see. I think that there is a deck that she's still going to be good in. Spider-Man goes from a 3/5 to a 2/4 as a way to sort of make up for the Scream. That's not as good as it seems because it messes with the Scream curve, but it does mean you can play Spider-Man at the same turn as on turn 3 as a Hydra Bob, as a Kingpin, etc., which does have some value. Luke Cage goes from a 3/3 to a 3/2. It just makes one of the best cards in the game a little worse. He's less likely to be relevant in a lane, but he's still a lot of power. As far as what he offers to the board, as far as like protecting your stuff, enabling your offensive stuff, and preventing your opponent's bullshit. U.S. Agent goes from a 2/3 to goes from a 2/3 that gives -4 to 4, 5, and 6 to a 2/3 that gives -3 to 4, 5, and 6. That's a huge change. This is going to make a lot of low to the ground decks a fair amount worse. It's also a really big buff for cards like Iron Man, which add a lot of power, which didn't really like being -8. -6 is much more palatable. Kazar gets an extra power. That's fine. So does Onslaught, which we're going to skip a little ahead to talk about them together. These cards, a lot of the Series 1 and 2 cards are balanced around, well, a lot of the Series 3 cards are balanced around when Shang-Chi used to kill things with 9 power. Shang-Chi has killed things with 10 power for a while, and so we slowly get things getting more power. They finally murked Hydra Bob, the best one in the game, goes from a 1/5 to a 1/4. This means that he is really only useful with Iron Patriot. Outside of that, he's just sort of a mid card. Sentry is now a 4/9 that gives -9 power void across the board, which is very good. We'll see if this is enough to bring Annihilus back. I'm skeptical, but hopeful. Mr. Fantastic is now a 3/1, which means he works with Ravonna and gives +3 to both side locations. That is a buff as far as if you get Moonstone, this is a decent combination to get 6 power in 2 middling lanes. And finally, we have Hela, who is fundamentally redesigned. She becomes a 6/9, and now she only brings back 1 card of each different cost. So she brings back a Death and a Null and an Iron Man, but she does not bring back a she does not under any circumstances that I know of bring back Gore and Iron Man because they would have the same cost. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. We've got what I think is a cracked Hela deck at the end of this video, so hold on for it. Before we get to that next part, though, please hit that sub button if you're willing. We're doing our best to hit 10,000 subs and hit 10,000. We did that already. To hit 25,000 subs this year. We are releasing 7 days a week of Marvel Snap videos. This week had 9 videos already. So if you're interested in the most thorough and complete and consistent Marvel Snap content, please follow here. We get the best decks from the best players before anyone else does. The bottom right of the screen, that little YouTube button, you click that, you're subbed. That's all you got to do. In addition, we're hosting a big tournament. It's the Snap Judgments League. I'm going to urge everybody to please join up for this tournament. It is starting January 27th. I understand my community is largely busy adults. For this tournament, all you have to do is play 1 game a week. You're in a pod of people. You play a bunch of them 1 game a week until we have a winner of that pod who gets a season pass. And then after that pod winner gets the season pass, they get put into a winner's pod where they compete for up to $400 more in prizes. So the only thing you have to do to join this is join our Patreon at the $2 tier or higher. So please check that out, patreon.com/snapjudgments, if you want to test yourself in Marvel Snap, and join our Discord if you have any questions. And you're going to have to join it to for all the organization stuff anyway. So that's linked in the description to the video. Next up, we have Sizer number 1. This is the best deck in Marvel Snap. This deck was nerfed today. US Agent went from giving -4 to -3, which would be a real nerf if US Agent actually mattered. This deck is held in check by being the hardest deck in the game to play. Great players struggle with this list. However, the meta should be very kind to this list for a little while. There's going to be a lot of Hela stuff around, a lot of different decks being experimented with, and this deck should absolutely feast on it. Sizer was number 1 on the Infinite leaderboard with this deck last season, number 2 the season prior, and is currently number 1 with it again. And its win rate is right now through the roof at number 1. You can find Sizer streaming daily at twitch.tv/Sizer2654. The cards you need to play this list are Aranya, Madam Web, and Ghost Spider. They are irreplaceable. US Agent and Frigga, however, are replaceable. We're looking at Penny Parker, Agent Venom, Magic, Goose, Cosmo, and Red Guardian as potential replacements. Sizer is currently, or was before even the OTA, experimenting with Cosmo in that US Agent spot. If you don't have Toxin, you can run Falcon. It's worse, but still doable. Alright, the rank 1 deck. Turn 1, you want Aranya. Turn 2, Madam Web is your priority. If not, you can double move Torch. If you have Aranya down, you can Aranya Torch as if you have Ghost Spider or Iron Fist. Cool? You will Aranya Torch with nothing else if your turn 3 is looking like it's going to be Frigga, because getting that 8 power Torch copied is still reasonably worth it, because you do have bounce cards, so you can move them both again, and then you have 2 16 power cards. That's a lot. 116s are a lot. All right. You can also set up a vulture move, which generally means playing Iron Fist or Aranya, or you can just drop US Agent. Turn 3 is all the stuff you just set up in the previous turn. If you drop Madam Web, you drop a vulture, you drop a mover on it, right? If you got that torch stuff going, now you're going to play a Frigga on it, or you can bounce it if you must, or you can if you set up a vulture move with an Iron Fist, now you want to drop vulture. If you played US Agent, however, now you are going to have to figure out what to do, right? Because now you're behind curve by a little bit. So what you want to be doing is starting to look at how to get your movers going. So turn 4, you want to bounce or Frigga. You're frigging whatever you've moved, or you're bouncing some other stuff. The exception is if you started late on turn 3 with the US Agent on turn 2, now you're going to have to play that vulture or dagger or whatever. Turn 5 is remove, and at this point you really want to start setting up a secondary move target if possible, unless it's dagger and you have 2 moves for it. Dagger with 2 moves is often enough, but like setting up the secondary target could just be as simple as dropping dagger last on Madam Web that turn. Or you can play Frigga if you got yourself a nice big thing. Turn 6 is the last moves. If you bounced, remember the big bodies don't need to move again. Move the smaller ones. So if you've got a 28 power Human Torch, or 14, even a 14 power Human Torch, you don't always need to move that one last time. Getting that extra move on a smaller vulture or dagger is fairly often likely to win the game. Quick note about Frigga. Frigga's main use, the reason Frigga is in this list, is that we have 3 move payoffs in this list. You have Human Torch, Dagger, and Vulture. Those are the things that grow when moved. They are your main Frigga targets when you only see one of them. If you only see one of them, you really want a second to win the game, so you use Frigga. If you are seeing them and things are singing and you're having trouble with movers, the other use for Frigga is generally to grab an Iron Fist, a Doctor Strange, or a Ghost Spider. Cool? Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. You get that extra power. We are giving away a season pass every week until the end of the season. So if you're looking for an Iron Patriot, all you have to do is be watching the videos, sub, like, and then later this video, I'll tell you what to comment. You leave that comment and you are entered to win an Iron Patriot. We're doing the same thing next week. Then at the start of the next season, we're giving away 5 season passes of Sam Wilson Captain America. So don't miss it. Next up, we have Derek Hand. There are 2 Victoria Hand decks that are absolutely crushing right now. They are 2 of the best decks in Marvel Snap that are completely singing. This is the first of them. Derek was the number 1 player in both July and August and has created this absolute monster of a deck. This is a fairly expensive deck, unfortunately, but it is doable. Because the only things you really need for this list are Victoria Hand, Kate Bishop, and Misery. So if you've got Victoria Hand and Kate Bishop, you'll be okay. Misery is irreplaceable, which might seem frustrating, but in 2 weeks, Misery is going to be in Spotlight, so prepare accordingly. If you don't have Red Guardian, you can run Rogue. If you don't have Iron Patriot, you can run Sentinel, who is severely underrated in this style of list. Nico can be Snowguard or Maria Hill. Nico's use here is that you don't want the -3 of the hood on the board. It is game losing to sit there with what amounts to a goblin that you paid 1 for on the board. Your main way to get rid of that is misery. However, you need a secondary way, right? You're not going to draw misery every game. You're not going to see the right locations or whatever every game for it. So what you have for that is Nico, who can turn that into a demon or blow it up to draw cards. If you don't have Rocket Groot, you're looking at Juggernaut, Speed, Negasonic. If you don't have Frigga, you're looking at Mystique, but then you want to add a Speed or another ongoing card in that Rocket Groot spot. All right, so Misery is in Spotlights in 2 weeks with Ares. Once more, please don't forget that. Turn 1 is Hood if you have Misery in hand. You play Kate if Demon or draw 2. You play Nico if Demon or draw 2. Turn 2 is Iron Patriot, Victoria, Frigga, or Kate. Turn 3, Rocket and Groot if Iron Patriot, Frigga if Victoria, Red Guardian if the right target. The right target really just means at this point someone playing a Victoria naked that you can hit. Luke is otherwise the play. Luke plus Anti-Venom is an insane combo with Frigga. We'll get there momentarily. Turn 4, Misery on that Hood. You can also feel free to Misery on Kate, etc. Or generate cards, or you can drop Anti-Venom. Anti-Venom says, I've got important things left in the deck, and energy is starting to look like a problem. Or I've still got Frigga, and I played Luke Cage, which means you can Anti-Venom, and then you can play that card that is free with Frigga and another 2 on the next turn, and not lose any power. It's insane. Turn 5, Hood plus Misery, or generate cards, Anti-Venom plus Frigga. Cool. So Hood plus Misery at this turn just gives you 2 demons to play at the end of the game while you also played 8 power, perfectly fine. Or you can generate cards, generating cards just being like playing your Kate Bishops and so on and so forth, just trying to get some cards out. Or you can play Anti-Venom's card with Frigga or even Victoria Hand and Frigga. Turn 6 is generated cards and Victoria Hand, and then you're done and you've won the game. Anyone who's going, I want to play this with Anti-Venom, I don't have Anti-Venom. In late February, there is a giant bundle for Anti-Venom that is the best bundle they have ever offered, assuming it's state of mind, so assuming it stays the same. So make sure you save up 4,500 gold if you want Anti-Venom. Next up, we have Moonstone. Moonstone's weekend review, in fact. Moonstone is a 4/6 ongoing, has the ongoing effects of your 1, 2, and 3 cost cards here. Moonstone is fine with Patriot, it's fine with Ravonna. Those are underexplored, and I cannot vouch for them being meta relevant. Mr. Fantastic was updated for Moonstone. That seems good, but once more, not necessarily immediately meta relevant. Her meta relevance right now is with Victoria Hand, particularly with Victoria Hand and Speed. If you don't have Victoria Hand, you should not be getting her right now with one major caveat. There is a possibility, maybe even a likelihood, that she is required for Sam Wilson Captain America decks next month's Season Pass. If you are buying next month's Season Pass and are worried that if you don't have Moonstone you'll miss out, you should probably grab her now. The other reason to get her is Victoria Hand. Any other reason, and she's probably a skip at this point. Toxic Soul Hand is the other super high win rate deck that runs Victoria Hand. There's a lot. This card is extremely strong, but these are the 2 that have had the most success at High Infinite. If you play these with intent and well, you will win a lot of games of Snap. You can find Toxic Soul King at twitch.tv/Toxic Soul King TTV. Also, Cam Best made the same freaking list the same day at twitch.tv/CamBestMS. Cam Best was 1 card different. It was Juggernaut versus Kate Bishop. Toxic Soul King runs Juggernaut. Cam runs Kate Bishop. I'm partial to Juggernaut with the caveat that if Hela becomes really good, Juggernaut's kind of useless and Kate's great. You need Victoria Hand and Moonstone for this list. If you don't have Wiccan, you're going to need Anti-Venom. Again, reminder about that bundle. But also, Wiccan is finally coming in March. So if you have, if you're waiting for Wiccan, Wiccan is in Spotlights in March, thankfully, finally. Bob over Quinjet is the play, is the turn 4 thing. Bob is once more here, largely for Iron Patriot. Otherwise, I don't think he's good anymore. Frigga over Mystique is the Frigga can be Mystique, is the replacement there. If you don't have Speed, you run Punisher. If you don't have Iron Patriot, you run Kate Bishop, and Cam's difference once more is Kate for Juggernaut. Turn 1, you want Maria Hill if you need a 2, Snowguard if a 3, and Bob if not, because remember you are setting up for a Wiccan. Turn 2, Victoria Hand if Frigga, Iron Patriot if not, and if you don't have either, you can play Mirage just fine, or the Maria Hill generated card. Turn 3, Frigga on Victoria Hand, Speed to win Iron Patriot, Juggernaut if you don't have another way to win that Iron Patriot lane, and Rogue if the opponent has a Victoria handout. Turn 4, Wiccan over Moonstone. Turn 5 is generate cards, or you can play Frigga on either Iron Patriot or on either the Iron Patriot generated card if you got the discount, or Victoria hand, or you can play Moonstone and a 3 if you got Wiccan. Turn 6 is all the stuff plus Juggernaut. This list is amazing. These first 3 lists are what I think the 3 best lists are in the game of Marvel Snap. We've got 7 more great lists and 7 more full guides for you, though. But first, if you're interested tonight, we'll be streaming with the aforementioned Toxic Soul King, the person who made that last list, tonight. He's going to be on the podcast that we're recording live on Twitch at twitch.tv/PulseGlazer with the great Ika. So join us at 8:30 p.m. Eastern to watch that there. Our season pass question, you're going to have to watch the rest of the video, sorry, is what's the best deck that I didn't talk about in this video? Cool. The next deck we're going to talk about is the other deck Sizer has been playing at number 1. This deck sort of crumbles to an opposing Iron Patriot, and it was nerfed by 2 cards, both US Agent and Hydra Bob. However, I think both stay on the list, and I think the list is still really good. I think for the next little bit, we're fairly likely to see a little bit less. 3 ways, because Luke also lost a power. I still think that this list is worthwhile, pending the sheer amount of Hela we see. Once more, Sizer2654 on Twitch. This deck needs Ajax, US Agent, Man-Thing, and Anti-Venom. Without those 4 cards, I don't think you can play this list, although US Agent can fall out. We're going to have to test a little more. Zabu, Bob can be Psylocke and Iceman. Bob's fine here, but Psylocke does the same basic job as Zabu of trying to get you to 4 faster. Iron Patriot can be Valentina, Cable, or Mirage. It was Valentina originally before Iron Patriot came out. Red Guardian can be Rogue or Negasonic, and Malekith can be Mobius or Shang-Chi. Yeah, Mobius, that's the one I mean. All right, if Hela is prevalent, there's a possibility that we add Fenris in one of the 2 spots and Negasonic in one of the 3 spots here. That might be a thing that we do in a lot of decks, because if Hela is prevalent, then you don't need the Negasonic to trigger Fenris. They're going to discard stuff. If you got Fenris out, you just trigger it next turn and get that shit back. So again, Sizer has a fairly similar win rate with this to Move Bounce, but overall this has a lower win rate than Move Bounce for most people. Turn 1, you want Zabu over Bob. Turn 2, Iron Patriot over 1 over US Agent, because there's no Wiccan, so you can go off curve. Turn 3, Jug or a 4 if Iron Patriot is better than Luke. Turn 4, Anti-Venom or Malekith over Man-Thing. You're going to have to figure out what's in the deck. It takes a while to learn whether Anti-Venom or Malekith here. I tend to default toward Anti-Venom if I have Ajax in hand, and Malekith if not, but it's pretty close. Man-Thing is a card I generally want to play at the end, but I will play on 4 if I don't have the other stuff. Turn 5, Ajax or 3 plus Hazmat, and ideally you played Zabu at some point, so maybe you have a 4 for 3, that'd be great. Turn 6 is Malekith or Man-Thing plus US Agent or Hazmat, or Ajax and Bob, or Juggernaut, Bob, and Hazmat or Agent. And then you probably win. This list is a ton of power. If there's not a lot of Luke in your pocket meta in the version of the Marvel Snap that you're playing, the opponents you're playing, then you should absolutely give this list some go. I don't think you'll regret it. It's very strong. There is a bundle in the shop that you should not buy. This is the Cat Out of the Bag bundle. It's $20 for 173% progress value. That is bang average, exactly what we would expect from a Marvel Snap bundle that's charging us cash. And there's bundles that do similar things to this, except come with series 4 and 5 cards coming. Buy one of those instead. Skip this one. Next up, we have Obi's Negative Stone. I think that this list is really, really about to take off. This is a very strong Mr. Negative list that has a lot of play without having to deal with a lot of the extra bullshit. It can win without negative. I know people say it a lot, but it actually can. If you get Ravonna out, you can play a Naked Mystique, and then you can play like a Gore on 5 because you have Ravonna, and then you can Zola that Mystique and double copy the Gore, which is just game winning. Same thing for Iron Man or Onslaught or whatever the case may be. Tons of ways to win here. So Tribunal, Ravonna, and Gore are the needed cards. If you're missing Moonstone, well, here's a version of the list that doesn't run Moonstone. This is, again, doing really well right now because a lot of the answer cards are not in the meta. Although, be wary of Rogue. There is Rogue in the meta. You tend to run enough ongoings that Rogue can't stop them all. There is a little bit of Snowguard Bird, which is bad for magic, but that seems to be the only real prevalent magic answer. Uh, I wrote Jane here, like Jane's in the list. Excuse me. Ooh, that's not how I want that to be. All right, let's do this better. Turn 1, you pass. Turn 2, you want Psylocke or Ravonna. That is your general goal. I think Ravonna is usually better, but if you can Psylocke into either Moonstone or if you can Psylocke into Moonstone, you're perfectly happy to do so. Turn 3, you're fine playing that Naked Mystique. Your goal is to play Mr. Negative on turn 3, right? But you're fine playing a Naked Mystique. You would play a Moonstone or Jubilee first, generally speaking. Magic also comes before that Naked Mystique. Turn 4, again, same basic concept. Negative is your goal. If you can't play Negative, I would play Jubilee. Magic is also really good here. Moonstone is fine, and Mystique Naked is then next option. If you've played Negative, it's basically just draw a bunch of negative cards and then figure it out from there. If you haven't at this point, hopefully you got Ravonna down because you're going to play Iron Man or Gore on 5 because you want to Zola them on 6. If you got that Iron Man down, feel free to Onslaught on top of it, especially if you have Magic. Iron Man Onslaught Tribunal is still game winning. Cool. Gore, remember if you played Gore and then you have Mystique in another lane, you can Zola off that Mystique and then you can drop like an Onslaught on one of them for whatever lane is most challenging. You have a lot of plays like that which allow you to win the game of Snap. Hey, remember that? I used to write for Marvel Snap Zone. Well, guess what, friends? I'm back. I will be writing a daily video on Marvel Snap Zone. Please go check out Marvel Snap Zone, the wonderful Den, the wonderful Canadian Alfredo, the wonderful Bohe. We've got a ton of great people writing articles there, joined by me. So get ready for the return to Marvel Snap Zone. All right, JD Max Iron Surfer. This list is crazy. JD Max just went 22-1 in Gold Conquest with this list. It is super strong. It's really, really capable of beating almost anything. You can find JD at twitch.tv/JDMcDonaldinho. You need Galacta and Shaw. You can mix and match with the following deck as well if you don't have some of these cards. This is the Gregor version. The original version of this was my Surfer that ran America Chavez before Rocket and Groot came out and was otherwise the same damn list. So as this that you're looking at, so this list is JD's updated version of that as well. That runs instead, it's built for Iron Patriot as a way to like make Iron Patriot really work because Iron Patriot is completely insane. All right, turn 1, you want America. Turn 2, Iron Patriot over Forge. Turn 3, Hope over Rocket and Groot over Negasonic for Iron Patriot. Turn 4 is Galacta over the turn 3 shit. Turn 5 is Forge and Brood on or Brood or Shaw. Hope if you have if you played Hope on 3 and you can play 2 3s on 5, you can do that as well. Turn 6, Surfer and Absorb Man, or Brood and Absorb Man, or Surfer and Shaw, or Absorber Man, or Brood and Shaw, and sometimes one of those cards in Negasonic. Figure it out. What gives you the most power and the best chance to win at that point. Cool. This list is awesome. Again, I cannot urge you to play this enough. I think that if you're struggling to hit Infinite, playing this style of Surfer is the best way to climb right now in Marvel Snap. And this climbs really high in Infinite and on Conquest. It's just a super strong list. Hey, tomorrow's video is me going over every bundle that is data mined in Marvel Snap that contains series 4 and 5 cards. So if you're interested in that bundle, if you want to see a bunch of series 4 and 5 cards that are going to be sold to you and find out what their value is and how much each bundle is worth, what you should save for, what you should not save for, please check tomorrow morning's video. The podcast we're recording tomorrow night, so it's going to be delayed a couple days, but you can still catch that great video right there. These 3 cards, by the way, are 3 they're selling in bundles soon. All right, next up, we have small good cards. This is the most underrated list in the game. It is absolutely insane because it's a little harder than it looks to play, but not hard, right? This ain't exactly move bounce. This is one of the best lists. It is a climber of a list. If you just want to play good Marvel Snap lists and climb, give this one a look. It's crazy, crazy strong. Derek created this one, I'm pretty sure. I'm not 1,000% sure. This deck needs Havoc and US Agent. Agent Venom can be Ravonna. Nico can be Iceman. Again, you're a little worried about the Hood. You still, if you have Agent Venom and Bast, have 2 ways to deal with Hood, though. Thena can be Angela. Sage can be Wolfsbane. Way worse, but fine. Red Guardian can be Rogue. And Cassandra can be Juggernaut. So this is a quietly top tier deck. This has had for the past 2.5 seasons one of the best win rates in the game. So turn 1, you want Kitty. You have Bast if you have a lot of good targets. Do not play a Naked Hood. You do not want a -3 on your board. Turn 2, you want Agent Venom over Thena over US Agent. Turn 2, you want Agent Venom over Thena over US Agent. Generally speaking, there's some matchups. This is really effective in Conquest. I watched someone learn this over the course of a Conquest match where I was playing Doom 2099 and they were playing this list. If certain lists, you're going to want to save that US Agent for later so they can't play around it. But against a lot of lists, just dropping it and saying this lane is one I can win on the cheap is good. Turn 3, you want Cass or a 2+1, and this is a really good Bast turn. Turn 4, you generally want to get Havoc down if you have a reasonable curve, unless like you really can't afford to play anything after. Havoc and another card, or Cass and a 1. Turn 5, Cosmo or Red Guardian and a 1 or 2, depending on whether you Havoc. Red Guardian and US Agent or Cosmo and US Agent are really good here. Turn 6 is Sage and a 1 or 2. Sage again and Thena, Sage and US Agent are all fine plays here, and that should win you the game. Sage and Demon is also very, very, very strong. This list is stellar and deserves to be played more. It deserves to be paid more respect. It is one of the very best decks in the game. Please check out the stream team if you'd like to see gameplay from all these decks. The stream team are some top Marvel Snap streamers who play with my lists on stream. So Tuccrr will be streaming tonight. FaThorNewman will be reviewing all the the week's videos this week, so check them out. While Obihaved will be Sunday for the brand new stuff that comes out of the OTA by then. Because I think we did a good job of covering everything, but some unexpected shit will happen, right? That's how Marvel Snap works. Someone will create something completely wild. We'll have it for you by Sunday. All right. I made this Hela list. I had a Hela list in yesterday's OTA video. I played it and then I tweaked it based on what I was seeing, what I was feeling. And this Hela list, I think, is it. I think this is the Hela list that people should be playing. It's relatively cheap and insanely strong. Hey, that's me. I made it. Twitch.tv/PulseGlazer. You need Gore and Blink for this list, and that's it. Like, you need them, but they're cheap. So I went 8 and 4, 67%. Two of my losses. One of my losses was against Husky Puppies. Hi, shout out to Husky. Where we both played Hela, and my Hela had to put one card in a certain location. Like, one card in center or right would have won, and all my cards went left, and his cards went the right way. C'est la vie, right? That's going to happen occasionally in Marvel Snap. So, sorry, my audio is acting up. Give me... All right, there we go. Sorry about that. My audio has been doing a weird hissing thing every so often lately, and I'm not entirely sure why. Whatever. And the other loss was I saw 3 bad locations, and one was the uh nothing has abilities in this location. And then Hela decided that that would be a great place to resurrect Jubilee and Gore. So like 2 of my losses were just straight up like silly randomization losses, and the wins felt insane. This list feels like it's legit. It's really good. If you miss Hela, go play. Turn 1, Blade if Infinite. Turn 2, Blade if Infinite. Otherwise, you're going to try and save that for a little later. Turn 3, Lady Sif if Death. Or if there's no Hela in hand. If you've just got multiple other high cards, if you got the Gore, the Infinite, whatever, you'll just drop a Sif at that point. Wiccan, what? Lady Sif, you will play Wiccan. You will play Swordmaster. Sorry, I was doing this on stream, and apparently I don't know how to type when I'm on stream. Swordmaster if Iron Man, but be careful not to just hit Blade or Sif. You're fine hitting Jubilee, especially if you have Hela, but you don't want to hit Blade or Sif. Samurai can be... Samurai is your turn 4 if you have Gore or Iron Man in hand. You will also Jubilee if it's safe. This is a deck that benefits from a deck tracker. So if you've got Lady Sif in deck, but you've got 5 cards in deck, you can Jubilee, right? And if you happen to hit Lady Sif or Blade, fine, you leave, you run. But yeah, I don't know. That's the gist of it. That kind of thing. Turn 5, you do the same thing as 4, or you can play Iron Man or Blink. Turn 6 is Hela or Blink/Jubilee in order to get Hela, and then you usually win. What I'm finding, what I'm mostly bringing back is Black Cat, Death, one of the 6s, and then sometimes a 5. That's plenty of power. because I don't know, you're running a 7, a 5. Hela is now a 6, 9. It's plenty of power. This is a very, very good list. I think Hela is back. Good luck to us all. Next up, we have Ajax Scream. This is the highest win rate Scream deck from the aforementioned Husky Puppies. It's Husky. So Husky created this list. It's great. It's super strong. It's really, really effective. And people should definitely be giving this some play. It's one of the best decks in Marvel Snap. If you're seeing a lot of Luke, obviously this list isn't going to work. If you're not, but caveat, this list runs Rogue, right? Your opponent has to play Luke early to stop Scream. If you play Scream and they drop Luke on the next turn, they might stop one of your power if you didn't have Prio. Rogue on the next turn can then take that power. Sorry, take that Luke. So you can find Husky at twitch.tv/HuskyBumpers35. You need Ajax, Anti-Venom, and Scream for this list. You as agent can be Killmonger or Iron Patriot. Zabu, Miles, and Kingpin are all replacements for Hydra Bob. In fact, I'm pretty sure I would cut Hydra Bob for one of those at this point. Red Guardian can be Killmonger, Gladiator, or Negasonic. So turn 1, you want Hydra Bob. Turn 2, Scream over US Agent. Turn 3, over Scream. Oh yeah, over US Agent. My brain turned off for a sec there. Turn 3, Polaris or Spidey and Bob. Luke is relatively safe here too. Or you can Rogue Red Guardian if you have a clear naked target. Turn 4, Anti-Venom is better than Stegron as a general rule. Turn 5, you want 3+2, Hazmat and Luke, or Polaris and Scream, or you can drop Ajax. Turn 6, Ajax, or you can drop a combo of 3s and 2s. And that's it. Scream is still insanely good. Don't let that -1 power confuse you. Glenn said Scream had Mr. Negative-like stats. It was killing it on the internal metrics forever. So it is worth knowing that -1 power will be it. If you're not seeing a lot of Luke, Scream is still going to be one of the best cards in the game. Reminder, tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern for the podcast. Make sure you check it out. Also, Monday morning starts my Marvel Snap Zone articles. All right, next up, we have Discard Conquest from January 3rd. So I was trying to figure out what the last list should be, and I've been a big proponent of a different discard list that we're going to see in a moment. But if everyone's going to be playing Hela, then Fenris Wolf and discard seems incredible, because between Morbius and Dracula, you can compete. You can go right over the top with any Hela list. Moon Knight has a reasonable shot at hitting Hela, and at that point, we're really singing. Plus, if they discard a Gore, they discard a Infinite, whatever, you just immediately Fenris Wolf, steal that shit, and you've won the game. I don't know who made the Fenris Wolf version. I popularized the other version. I didn't make the other version, but I made it really popular. This deck needs Modok and Scorn. Another version below, but if you don't have Fenris, you can just run like Lady Sif or whatever discard card. This is the version that I've been playing for several seasons at a really high win rate. It's very, very good. This is my personal favorite version of the list. I'm a fool for Grandmaster Gambit, but it's not required. Cool? I think Fenris might be better now because of the way the meta's changed. Turn 1, you want Blade if a discard target. Turn 2, Mobius or Fenris, Colleen if Scorn or Swarm. Turn 3, you're going to want to play a 2. You can also Moon Knight if the only even cards you have are Apocalypse and Proxima or Swarm. You can also Gambit if you have multiple good targets. Don't Gambit if most of your hand is bad targets. The bad targets, just for the record, are Fenris Wolf, Dracula, Morbius, Modok. If you have 2 of those, it's probably not a good time to Gambit. Turn 4, you want Dracula is better than 2 2s. Turn 5, Modok is generally the play because unless you've already discarded a Swarm, because you don't want to trap your Swarms in hand with your Dracula. If you must, though, you'll turn 6 Modok, play your Swarms, and Scorn. Or you can just cold drop Apocalypse or drop whatever you top decked after Modok. And then you win, because this is a ton of power. That activate on Fenris Wolf is stellar. This list is great. Give it some go. That's it. That's 10 lists. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, this view of what the meta should look like after the OTA yesterday. Check out patreon.com/snapjudgments, and certain tiers of support come with thanks. I'm going to do this quickly because, oh my God, is it late after the second time I had to record this whole video. Thank you to Abigail Giesler, Manager Burnout. Thanks for hanging Burnout. Irregardless, David G. Wingfield, Dirty Casual, Danton, Always Kind, LAB, FaThorNewman, Good Dog Gamer, I am Frostman, our new mod. Jota Navarrete, YOLO Potato, Thinking Poker, Primed Ryan, thank you for sponsoring Snapchat League Season 2, Ryan, and the ridiculous gifted, Ryan Burke, Ryan Wood, Woody, thank you for the sub and the hangout tonight. the King of Questions, Kertix Lee, Koire, thanks for hanging. Kazushi, Archangel 3K, Pyrofroze, thanks for hanging. The Goat Seeker, Hollowed, Synth, thanks for hanging out with me tonight. Quid Pro Joe, Snap Decisions Joe, Fat Nick, Mr. Kerfuffle, Cables, Ginger Prime, Philip Rakovich, Haplo, Kenny Loggins of the Danger Zone, good chat earlier, Rob Silverman, The Bizza, Black Jeebus 23, Exorcy and Skippy G, Rhyme and Friends, Jessica Gamble, Slush Death, King of Bros, Bruh, The Great Kazoo, Werewolf, thanks for hanging, my friend, Kevsy Huda, Lunar Chris, Corwin, John Q, and Jimmy Q, Q Town, Clam, Forbin, thank you for hanging with me. Forbin, Stout, 8th, Sage, Mod Supreme, Models, Green Goblin, Unibot, thanks for hanging, friend. Flan56, Steven, Brian Coffin, Just Nace Martin, Jason B, Only Fox, The Fuzzy Dump, Spectrumix, Hoot, Matt H, DJ Mike Hijinks, No Frickin' Flex, Ocularis, thank you for hanging, friend. Mr. Craig Sterry, BG, Zodrex, The King Canada, Denman Falcon, Jonesy, The Great, Two Ties, The Great, Lourdes, The Perry King, Tuccrr, and of course, Kenny T, where the T stands for Tomorrow Podcast. Check videos left, right of screen. Then after you check that, press the center button to sub, and I'll see you tomorrow for the bundle guide and then Sunday for more Snap Take. Peace.